So thank you all for taking time out of your evening or morning, depending where you are in the world, to come and play with me and come explore. I like to plan these quarterly community events just to get in touch with the community, meet some of the names that have come up through either Instagram or on email. And this one in particular is the first one I've done specifically for rehab or movement professionals. And so I'm just really excited to talk shop with you all. You know, I'm a team of one, and the way I collaborate is in this virtual community. So I'm so happy that you're all here. If you haven't already for class, get yourself settled with your 11-foot TheraBand with loops on the end. Make sure you have an anchor point. You're going to need also your sliders, your squish ball, and then please just make sure you've signed the liability waiver. Okay. I'm just going to put that up for the people on the recording as well. By participating in this class, you agree to the assumption and risk of liability. So my lawyer just told me to put that in there. Thank you for your patience. Before we get going in the movement portion, I wanted to share a little bit about my journey because while I may have clickbaited you with the phrase Pilates for pros, I'm going to talk a little bit about Pilates, but I'm actually going to I want to share with you what it is specifically about Pilates that has changed my career, like you'll see in my career shift, and then also how you can use Pilates concepts in any setting with simple props like bands, balls, and sliders. So for those of you that are new to my program, my name is Stephanie, and quick intro. Basically, I started working at an activity-based therapy clinic in 2011 in the Northern California area. That's where I met I guess at that point we were just really, really good collaborative partners. Theo St. Francis, he has a C6 spinal cord injury. We just collaborated really, really well and worked very closely together for 5 years before he returned back to school. At some point, I was introduced to Pilates through Theo and a few other clients, and basically they were going to this woman on the left here, Alejandra. They were going out to Hawaii for 2-week to 4-week intensives where she did this thing called neuro Pilates, which I didn't have a concept of what Pilates even was, but they were coming back with really, really incredible connections in their bodies, things that I had been working on with someone for maybe 2 years. They were coming back with this really amazing body integration and relationship with their body. And I said, wow, I really need to figure out what this lady is doing. She's amazing. So I went and took her course and tried to eat up as much as she was willing to give me, which led me down kind of the rabbit hole of actually starting to work at a Pilates studio versus an ABT clinic, where I had some clients follow me, and we were basically just kind of like messing around on the equipment. Like, I didn't really know Pilates that well at that point, but I was starting to dabble in how can this equipment support some of the stuff that I want my clients to connect in. I realized at one point that, and watching other Pilates teachers in the studio that I was working with, I was watching them use this equipment, and I said, wow, I feel like I'm getting literally like 1% of what this equipment can offer. I need to actually just go do my due diligence and get trained, and so I can actually use this equipment to its like fullest extent. So I went on and got my comprehensive Pilates training. That's basically like a 500-hour training, 16 modules, and I'm now trained on every piece of Pilates equipment. From there, it kind of just grew. I was then able to leverage a bit more advanced exercises, get more creative with the equipment within logic and within understanding of the dynamics of how to use springs and how to position the body and how to angle the tension lines. From there, what we were finding was really, really incredible, and people kind of caught wind and wanted to learn more about what we were doing. So we decided to write a book. We started writing the book in 2017, which is when Zebrafish Neuro was formally established as a legal entity in 2017. We took 3 years to research and develop the book, and then we finally were able to have a final push when COVID hit and everything shut down. We had a final push to get those edits in, and we released the book in May of 2020. The book is now the basis, like the base curriculum for my coaching and then also my teaching. I do both remote coaching and in-person training. With the in-person experiences, I use equipment to create an experience and a feeling in their body that then they take home and recreate, again, with simple props, bands, balls, sliders. And that's how the remote coaching works as well. So the work that happens in the studio, the idea is that they're able to take it out of the studio with them. I was finding that because I was doing remote coaching, I was teaching caretakers or some people's partners or whoever was around in the house, I was teaching them how to be my hands. And I realized, wow, I could actually probably just teach a course on this. So I started teaching courses in 2023. My first course that I taught was actually at a Pilates studio. We had OTs, PTs, Pilates teachers, personal trainers, and activity-based therapy trainers at that one course, which was so amazing. I have now taught all around the world, I can say now, in now ABT clinics. And then in December of last year, I taught my first course to a team of inpatient and outpatient PTs and OTs, which pushed me to get APTA approval and Occupational Therapy Association approval for the course. So really exciting stuff that, like, basically this little curiosity that I had with Pilates has now sort of like flowed me all the way out over here and almost kind of back to the beginning of where clients are starting their journey, which is, inpatient and outpatient PT. My belief is that the more we can get this work dispersed across the continuum of practitioners in someone's care, the more common language we can speak. And, I'm seeing I'm not a physical therapist. I'm seeing someone more, maybe several years out, 2, 5, 10 years out. But the sooner that these seeds get planted, even in acute care, the easier my job gets, right? The easier my job gets. So that's where we're headed. That's the story. That's the arc in a couple minutes. So why Pilates? Why specifically Pilates? And first I want to talk about, for me or for you as a clinician, because I think this was actually quite powerful for me. Obviously, I saw the work happen in my clients, which I'll talk about in a second. But for me, it was very personal. With the equipment, I started to use the equipment. It offloaded my body, which meant I can spend more of my energy in the brainy part, the programming and the problem solving and the troubleshooting, as opposed to the physical strain of the session. And then career longevity. I was this close to quitting SCI completely when I was 25 and had work-related low back pain. I found Pilates, it offloaded my body, and I was like, wow, I can do this. I can do this forever. Literally, I could do this forever. In addition, my personal Pilates practice has really helped with that low back pain and what it really means to have a strong reflexive core and good body mechanics. Again, that was not taught to me in my kinesiology degree. That actually didn't come to me until maybe 5 years later. It wasn't part of my program. Pilates also has opened my eyes and opened the doors to other alternative healing and somatic practices that I think are required of a comprehensive healing process, especially for someone after neurological trauma. Like, it's not a one size fits all. We need to have a breadth of understanding of what else is out there. So when someone comes to us and what we're doing isn't working for them, we can say, hey, maybe a Pilates approach might be better for you, or maybe a CrossFit coach might be better for you, or maybe a swim coach, or maybe a craniosacral therapist or a visceral massage therapist. So understanding where all of these different modalities fit into someone and identifying, hey, we can refer out, or you can go down that rabbit hole and get trained yourself, which is basically what I did with Pilates. Now, for why Pilates might be really good for your clients or your patients, Pilates by its very nature has a built-in demand for full body integration. We're always looking at, even if it's an upper body exercise, how does that power generated from your core center and radiate out through the arms? And even lower from that is like, how is that person integrating with the surface that they're on and generating power from that, which is then flowing and transferring outward through the body and out through their arms. So a bicep curl no longer becomes just a bicep curl. A bicep curl is now a shoulder stability exercise, an upper back exercise, a core exercise, a pelvic anchoring exercise, and maybe there's a reach through the feet to stabilize, right? As I already mentioned, the equipment offloads their body. So they get this kind of anti-gravity experience, maybe a bit more freer environment to move. I've had clients tell me that it feels a little bit like swimming. So that's kind of cool on a dry land environment. But I think one of the biggest things that Pilates offers our clients is this really unique feedback to direct movement. And I'll say that, I've been in the fitness industry for almost 20 years now. I have not come across one piece of equipment that can offer so much different type of input, specifically kinesthetic input into the body, again, in one piece of equipment. And that's really why I've gravitated towards having Pilates equipment in my very, very small studio. I can do so much with 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of equipment, and I can do so much and create so much input for someone. Now, when we're talking about inputs, I want to just remind us that to elicit a certain pattern in someone, in our clients or patients, it requires an environment to elicit that. So maybe I should backtrack on that. Human movement in real life or outside of a clinical setting is actually a reaction to the environment. It's a reaction to a stimulus. It's a reaction to an input. So therefore, if you want to elicit a certain movement pattern from someone, it's up to you as a clinician to figure out what stimulus or what input is going to get them into that movement pattern. All right? I say 99% of the time, if someone's not doing what I want them to do, it's my responsibility to provide the right environment for them. And that environment is different for every single person, depending on tone, personality, what's going on in their life during that day. Day to day, it's different, right? What kind of imagery do they like? Do they like flowy energy? Do they like more direct? Do they like abstract? Do they like more concrete? So again, it's up to you to figure out what that input is for that person. That input could be a verbal cue. That input could be a tactile cue, maybe hey, I want you to engage this, right? Or squeeze this. You could input vibration. You could input NMES or FES or STIM, right? Those are pretty well known, I think, in the SCA rehab community. What I think is underutilized is the use of support. And we almost think opposite is we want to take away support or we want to add resistance to challenge someone, when really it's our person just needs to feel what this movement should feel like in a fluid sense, maybe a more supported sense, and then we can start taking away support or even adding resistance. So it's even prior to high intensity training or loading a movement, we just need to get them hey, this is what it should feel like. And I think Pilates equipment for me gives me the power to give really, really well placed support. And again, just another reminder, that support or where you place the input, especially support, can make or break someone's experience within their body, their integration and their connection within their body. We need to find that perfect amount of support, not too little, not too much, that perfect spot, that Goldilocks zone of support that helps them find the fluidity of it and the freedom of it. A little anecdotal story on that. One of my clients, Vanessa, she's working on increasing glute activation for like tall kneeling postures. And she was really, really curious about, what inputs were actually creating glute activation. So her and her physio went and did, it wasn't an intramuscle EMG. It was just like the pad one. But they read her muscle activation objectively. They gave her support that made the exercise too easy. Flatline muscle activation. Took away all the support and made the exercise really hard. Flatline muscle activation, but they gave her like the perfect amount of support and she spiked in her muscle activation. So again, it's not just about making the exercise really hard. It's about making the exercise feel supported and accessible. That's what's going to elicit the biggest integration, connection, and change in our patients' and clients' bodies. So at the end of the day, it's good inputs are going to lead to good outputs. All right. Last thing to kind of note before we get into the fun stuff is that Pilates equipment is a tool to provide these inputs. It's my tool of choice. You may have different tools of choice to create these inputs for them. But the tool is only as good as the user. Whatever the tool is only as good as the user. So you have to understand how to manipulate your tools to create the right input. Same thing with Pilates equipment. The tool is only as good as the user. Please, 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 if you have Pilates equipment, because I've gotten this comment a lot over Instagram the last month when I've been kind of pushing Pilates. Please do your due diligence to get trained on your equipment. Know what you're doing, both for the safety of your clients and the safety for yourself, right? The equipment, like they drill this concept in us in our Pilates training about the safety hazards that happen. I mean, you have spring tension going on, like a lot, you can get flung if you're not mindful or you understand the dynamic of the equipment. And then also, get trained because you want to optimize the ROI. Like you want to optimize that investment in what you've purchased, right? You don't want to be like, again, this is from my experiences. Like I was using equipment before I got trained and I was using it at like 1% of its full capacity and full offering. So just optimize your ROI. This is Sarah, and like you can get really, really creative. Like she wanted to have like a horseback riding type situation. This is a real Pilates exercise called horseback. I've modified it a little bit for her, but I would have never thought to do that if I did not have my Pilates training. So just putting some oomph behind your tools with your training. If you have questions about where to get trained on your equipment, if you want to get your full comprehensive or even just dabble in a few pieces, I recommend Balanced Body. Polestar is amazing. And then also I have, of course, my Zebrafish Neuro courses and workshops. So here's how class is going to go. We're going to do a movement section, but we're going to lab it a little bit more because we're going to do very basic Pilates exercises, but I want to change maybe the position of the band, or maybe we switch it to a slider. I want to do the same exercise in 2 or 3 different ways so you can feel in your own body how a placement of input, a placement of equipment can change the experience for you, for better or worse, right? I want you to feel both, like, oh yeah, I didn't like that. So it's like, okay, maybe you won't do that with a client, right? Okay. So we're going to go through, what do I have? 10 exercises or so. Couple variations per. Feel free to jot notes if you'd like. So I want you to, I just have my little notes here. As you're going through class, I want you to pay attention to in what ways does the equipment inform or support a motor pathway. Maybe even taking some notes on the cues that I use for you. Less anatomical, maybe I use some more like imagery cues. I like to cue a lot of like reach this end of your body there while you're reaching this end of your body there. I also like to cue a lot of like weight shifting, like put more weight on this part versus this part. And then also looking at, the precision of the movement or even like where it's being originated from. Like how are you interacting with your environment to feel force generation, radiation, and then like outward expression of a movement. And I hope I didn't lose you even with that language, because that's what it is. Movement is expression, right? And how movement is expression. How does that movement get expressed in someone's body, especially someone that's been thwarted by a neurological condition? How can they increase their movement expression? Okay? Sound good? Sound good? All right. Of course, I hope you already know if something doesn't feel right in your body, please, please, please just don't do it. All right, skip it. We'll be with you in a second. All right, stand on up, please, when you're ready. In order for us to elicit change in our body and appreciate change in our body, we first need to recognize where we are at this moment in time. Ground yourself on the mat and close your eyes if that feels right for you. I just want you to take notice of where you feel your groundedness. Maybe take notice of your weight distribution between the right foot and the left foot. Maybe the weight distribution between the forefoot and the heel. Even more nuanced, the weight distribution in the 4 quadrants of your foot. Do you have a preference towards maybe the pinky toe side? And then just take a general check on your vibe check. How are the shoulders? Do you feel like you're holding energy in your chest or your neck or your throat? And I say that because I've been talking all day, so I feel it in my throat. Yeah. Great. And then we're going to do what's called a standing roll down in Pilates. Different than a forward fold or swan dive in yoga. You're going to start with your feet in parallel. The arms are going to sweep up to come up overhead. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears to create a hollowing of the front side of your body. Reach out to the other end of the mat, and your fingertips are going to land 2 feet away from your toes. So again, not a forward fold. Take a breath here to expand in your your mid back and low back. Inhale. And then on the exhale, you're going to weight shift into the balls of the feet. Launch the arms forward. Draw the tail down between your heels and stack your spine sequentially, bringing your arms up past your ears like goalposts, and then we bring our arms down for completeness. Okay? We're going to do that a couple more times. I'm just going to let you flow through that. I want you to notice how your body reacts to that forward lean. Maybe what are your toes doing? What does your back feel like? What is your pelvis doing? Take note. Arms come up, shrug the shoulders up, hollow out the belly. Reach towards the other end of your mat. Fingertips are going to land 2 feet in front of your toes. Inhale into your back body. And then exhale, launch the arms forward. Pull your tail down towards your heels as you draw your spine up on top of your pelvis. Arms come up to frame, and then the arms come down for completeness. Nice. Inhale to bring up. Inhale, shrug, hollow. Imagine yourself leaning over a big ball in front of you, and you don't want to let your belly touch the ball. Fingertips land. Inhale into your back body to expand. Exhale. Tail drops to lift the spine. Arms come down by your side. Okay, couple mental notes on how that felt. We're going to do that at the end of class to see if there's any changes. We're going to start on your mat, on your back. Sliders will just be off to the side for right now. We're going to start very simple with an exercise called supine arms. So you're going to be on your back. Your head should be in line with your anchor point. Your hands can be grabbing the knots or in the loops, your choice, all right? You can also choke up on your band at any time today. So like if you feel like your band is too loose and you don't have room to scoop down, you can just choke up. And again, that's another experiment to say, oh, what happens when I have more tension on the band versus less tension on the band. How does that change my experience? All right. Actually, I should say, your band right now should be sort of at like a mid height. Is that right? Okay, it's kind of like a mid height, like I said, waist height, I think. Right here, we're just gonna bring your arms down by your sides. Lengthen through the pinky sides of your hand so that your shoulders are reaching low. Slide the arms up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale and then exhale, pull back down. Inhale to lift. Exhale, pull back down. Okay. Changing the input to be more of an arc. So I want you to slide, so bring your arms down by your side, slide the armpits down the sides of your body, reach towards the shins, and then reach towards maybe the top of your window or door, and then reach towards the crown molding, and then reach towards the ceiling. We're going to do that in reverse. Reach towards the ceiling, the crown molding, the knees, the backs of the calves, and then the heels. Okay? So there's more of this like arcing sensation. Go ahead and move through that a few times. An arcing visual versus up and down. Okay? We didn't change anything about the setup. We just changed the visual. I hope you felt a little different experience in the shoulder there. Yep. Last one. Beautiful. And release. All right, grab your squish ball. And we're going to place squish ball underneath your sacrum. So again, we're going to do the same exercise, little different environment. Squish ball underneath your sacrum. Now, you'll find a sweet spot with that ball underneath your sacrum. If it's more towards the tail, you're going to be prompted in a posterior pelvic tilt. If it's more in your lumbar, you'll be more in an anterior pelvic tilt. Find a placement that feels relatively neutral. Great. Little tension on the bands, nothing crazy. Collarbones are wide. We're going to bring right leg into tabletop. What happens in that? Find a little stability. What happens if you point your foot versus dorsiflex your foot? What changes? It's going to be different for everyone. There's no consensus in that one. I usually just say, I don't care what you do, point or flex. I just want the end of your chain doing something. Okay? Bring that foot down. Same thing on the other side. I'm priming you. Good. Keep the tension on the bands. That's going to engage your armpit muscles, your serratus for spiral line. Keep going. Do a little march between the right and left sides. I'm priming you. Last one. You're going to bring both legs into tabletop. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Point or flex. I don't really care. Make a choice. Holy Toledo. Pull your arms down by your side. Or I should say arc them, shouldn't I? And then float the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, pull the arms down. Inhale, pull up. Nice. Exhale, pull down. Inhale, pull up. Last one. Exhale, pull down and stay down. Bring your left foot down and your right, bring your, hold on, I gotta do it. Bring your right foot down and right arm up. Right foot down, right arm up. So you're like mid-run. Switch. 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 3 more. Switch. 2. Last one. And then release and rest. How many times in that entire sequence did I say squeeze your abs? 0? 0 times. Did you feel your abs? Yeah. I'm a firm believer that when you create the right input, your abs will work. Your core is going to work when you create the right input, all right? So saying squeeze your abs isn't really going to be the best route for that. All right, we're going to switch gears. Have your ball nearby. And we're going to do basically a sit-up. It's called a rollback, Pilates rollback. It's a sit-up. Oh, let's do it without anything. Let's just go bare bones. Okay? Arms up towards the ceiling, on the horizon, I should say. I like to say like a zombie arm. Good. You can bend your knees if you need to so that you're sitting on top of your sit bones. The movement goes like this. We roll ourselves back as if we're gonna lay down on the floor. The arms sweep up overhead. Oh, that looks very similar to a roll down. Sweep the arms around. Reaching up like the zombie. I like to say reach towards the crown molding. Nod your chin, curl yourself up, and come up to your seated position. Beautiful. Let's do that one more time, bare bones, and then we're gonna add the flavor. Roll back. Reach, spiral, the arms around, and then roll on up. Cool. What happens if you put a ball in between your thighs to create the energy of adduction? Also, I'll say on this one, play with the flex or point in your feet, but mostly the adduction. You ready? Here we go. Little squeeze, roll. Arms come up, sweep around, squeeze to lift you. Same, better, different, or worse. Roll back. Maybe it's really hard to squeeze the ball and you're like, oh, I don't really know how to do both of those. Your adductors are connected to your deep core, your deep line. We need adductor work, yeah? Let's add another variable. Bands in your hands. Choke up as much as you need to. Arms out. The bands are there to guide you, not to pull on, by the way. Roll back. And I like that. It's like, oh, I gotta like pull on the band. It's like a Jefferson curl, huh? Take a moment, let yourself inhale, and then draw the chin in. Peel off the mat. Good. Try not to pull on those bands. Try not to lift your arms up either. I'll give you maybe another version that maybe you'll like better, right? Because we're trying to connect into like deep core, maybe some spine flexors. We want to use our arms less and less. Yeah? Okay. If I give someone something in their hands, they're probably going to pull on it, don't you think? Right? Okay. Wrong stimulus maybe for someone that's upper body dominant. So we're going to actually take your strap and loop it behind your back. And I know that this is now hard to reach your arms out like a zombie, but we're going to give it a go. If you feel like you're going to snap your bands, just sit bone walk yourself a little bit forward. Okay. We now have the band both giving us support in a nice, beautiful lift. Oh, that feels so good, that traction. It also gives us a nice cue of like, I'm going to exhale and reach my spine into it. Good. You may come all the way down. Inhale at the bottom. Little squeeze the ball. Press your low back into the band to bring yourself up. Kim, that looked really nice. That feel better? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it looks better. Roll on back. And lift. Cool. Nice. One more switch up. We're going to place the band now around your feet. Which, well, maybe I need to stop giving you the answers, huh? Let's just do it and then you tell me what it gave you. I think that's a good way to go. Here we go. Roll back. Roll up. I love talking Chuck about this. It's like so nerdy. It's like the same shape, right? But I'm like, oh, this gives me such a different experience. So for me, when I have the bands around my feet, it reminds me to energize the legs to anchor me that way. As opposed to just laying my spine down and up, it's like, okay, if my spine's going that way, I've got to push that way with my legs. Yeah? Cool. Great. I know. I wish we could do that. Those feel so good on my back after today. That was amazing. Let's see, what do we have next? Prone. Let's do some prone stuff. You're going to need your sliders for this one. Oh, you're going to need it all, actually. Put your band back into the anchor point. And you're going to be facing away from your anchor point on this one. You may need to kind of like cozy back a little. Great. And then come to the very, very end of your mat. So you want to be able to like have your sliders available. But first, just keep your sliders maybe here. We're going to put the ball underneath your chest. If you have a second ball, sometimes this is nice too. So for this one, oh, you know, I feel like I could do a whole class on just like whether or not your toes are tucked. But here we are. Reach the arms out and allow yourself to drape into kind of a flexion over the ball that you might not normally be able to get if you were just flat on the mat, right? And then because you're basically going into flexion, when you draw your chest up into extension, it just feels like that much cooler. It's like a bigger range of motion to move through. Drape out over the ball. And then pull yourself up. Now let's use the ball as a kinesthetic tool for a little tactile cue. So when you drape over the ball, I want you to roll, kind of like hollow out the front of your body, maybe even draw your abs up off the mat, like you put an ice cube there. And then when you come up, press the base of your sternum into the ball as if you wanted to roll the ball forward with your sternum. Slide down. Let's do one more of those. Inhale. And then exhale. Cool. Great. So you can go from flexion into extension versus just neutral to extension on that one. Because sometimes people can't go into extension, right? They've got rods or something, so just going from flexion to neutral is the most realistic thing. You're meeting the body where it's at, right? Okay. Sliders underneath your hands. We're gonna slide the arms out. This is gonna allow for a bit more upward rotation, maybe some protraction, flexion, reach. From here, you're gonna work through the pinky side of your hand to slide the armpits down the sides. Keep your elbows straight. Slide the armpits down the sides as you bring yourself up into your extension or neutral. Reaching out. Slide the sliders. And then armpit slide. Base of the sternum pushes the ball. Yep. Nice. And then release. Let's come up one more time and hold. I'm going to add a little juiciness to the last one here. Pull. Good. Can we bend your elbows and keep your extension? Let's do a little big circles. Right out and around. Wax on, wax off. I said that to someone yesterday and he didn't know what I was talking about. Wax on, wax off. I was like, oh, I'm no longer the youngest person in the room. Switch the direction of your circles. Keep the sternum pressing into the ball. Good. Fluid movement. Nice. And then release all the way out. Great. Go ahead and press back into like a child's pose or anything if you need to stretch out from your low back. I'm going to move on from that one. Okay. I love the ball under the chest for that one. People love it too. Again, going from like flexion to maybe just neutral versus extension. Okay, next exercise, we're going to go laying on your side. You can use your squish ball as a pillow if you'd like. Make sure that your head is towards your anchor point. Good. And we're going to do very classic Pilates or even aerobics movement. Leg lift and lower. Okay. Little layering of cueing. Dorsiflex your foot. Dorsiflex your other foot and tuck your pinky in. lift your waistline up, press down into the floor with your top arm. Did that change your experience completely? Versus, that's what I'm talking about. It's the full integration of the system. Nice. Great. Let's see what happens now. So I gave you some verbal cues. Let's see what happens when we give you some tactile cues. Kinesthetic cues. Sorry, tactile, kinesthetic? I guess that's an umbrella. We're going to take, depending on how tight your band is, you're going to take one or both of your straps and place them on your feet. Figure out a position, because that band may be like slapping you in the shoulder or in your face, so kind of like figure out your position there. And that's another thing. If I were to angle myself like this, right, it's going to bias isometric extensors, versus if I go like this, holding the leg forward is going to be isometric hip flexors, versus straight on, I'm just now getting this really nice like vertical input while laying on my side. Okay, Jane Fonda's, here we go, up and down. Bottom foot, pinky toe is hooked. Waistline is elevated. Great. With this one, it's really nice. I don't even have to cue you, I'm sure, to basically say, like, reach into the band. Otherwise, you get this hip hike, right? So it's like waistline stays long, and now we're going to lift and lower. Yeah, think about the length through the top side and the lift and support from the bottom side. And this is that one where I was saying, like, you know, playing with the environment. Like, how does energy from your surface transfer to the touching part of your body, then transfer outward to the moving part of the body? How does the bottom side of this exercise, how does the bottom part of your body support the top side movement? Yeah. Let's get a little dynamic. We're going to move some circles. Yeah, circles. And it's nice. Like, I have pretty tight hips. So, like, just giving me this band, it kind of does it. It's just like, oh, it's just like, I can move my leg and not worry about the tone in my leg. Like, I can just move it. Switch the direction. And so with this one, you know, I'm using it more as a tool of support than resistance. Like, it's feedback for me to like push through the band, but it's more so that I can feel freedom in my hip and like actually do a leg circle and not feel so stuck, especially if I do have glute med weakness. Yeah, nice. Good. Last one maybe? Great. Cool. Before we do the other side, stand up. And go back to your like check-in spot, like solid floor, and take notice of your weight shift and weight distribution. Did you feel a change from the beginning? No. Hillary said no. Oh yeah, oh you gave me thumbs up, sorry, I thought that was like yeah. Like, there's a tendency to weight shift into the side that just did the movement, because you're like, oh, I have that was a lot of proprioceptive input on that side of my body. So like, yeah, I trust that a lot more. Okay, so for your patients or clients that have hemi sensation or hemiparesis, going for a side body exercise, maybe that you just do the one side, but maybe doing the side body exercise gets them into that side body more, and you're not badgering them, hey, weight shift into your right, weight shift into your right. It's like, oh, I just do that exercise side body, and then, hop, boom, the weight shifted into the right side, right? Okay, should we do the other side just to like level out? Quickly, we're gonna do the band. We'll just go right to the band. Just do the other one. My back's gonna be to you. We're just gonna do some up and downs and some circles. Let's do like 8 of each. 8 up and downs, 8 circles in each direction. I'll cue you the kind of setup again. So you're gonna want the bottom foot, pinky toe, the waistline lifted, dorsiflex the top foot, and think about pushing into your strap. Yeah. What if you added an armband? That would be cool too, huh? Oh, I could split this band. Yeah, circles if you haven't already. Oh, yeah, see this my connection on my right side of my body is very strange. A strange relationship. Yeah. Switch directions. Good. All right. And then before we get off there, I want you to just change the angle of your body to the anchor point and maybe do some up and downs there and just see how that changes the reflexive activation. What muscles are now, or what fascial lines or muscles or whatever, slings, whatever language you do, what slings are now cued to support the movement. I'm going to watch. Yeah, so change to like you're maybe like more angled to the anchor point or like angled away. Yeah, and make sure that your body is still like, your body, you haven't like pitched in the hips. Like keep your body still really straight even though you've angled the whole system. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, a little couple leg swings are nice too. You're like, ooh, yeah. Yeah. Cool. Nice. All right, go ahead and shake all that out. Good. We're gonna do a little seated thing now. Let's, I think I'm gonna fold my mat, but basically you need to be close-ish to your anchor point and still be able to use sliders. This is my favorite, side bend. All right, we're gonna be in a Z-sit position with your shin towards your anchor point and your outside leg is in front. If this doesn't feel right for you, feel free to do like long sit, cross-legged, butterfly, whatever. Good, Amy? Here we go. We're gonna put one hand on your slider. Make sure you have another one there because we're gonna need it. We're gonna take your slider and we're gonna inhale over the top. Good. When you're up, keep your torso open and your hip anchored down. If you don't anchor your hip, it's flat, right? We know that maybe from our clients. So inhale out, and then on the way up, you're gonna push down to activate lat, pull yourself up, and then just for fun, we're gonna swing over to the other side. Yeah, good. So we're gonna inhale, slide. Don't slide out so far you get in a hole you can't support with your shoulder. Pull in and counter. Nice. Add any twist, literally, we're gonna go inhale. Pull in a halfway. Take your free hand, place it on the slider, and slide out. Your outside knee now has some pressure in it, yeah? So I can ask you to push down through the leg that you're leaning over to lift up. Good, slide back out, let's do that a few times. Inhale, push down through the down leg to lift your belly off your thigh, and then your torso comes up. This would be the next progression on your Y slides. So the prone ones where we did the Y, like armpit slide, this would be the next progression up. So I would teach someone the prone version, and then we might graduate to this. We're gonna go one more time. Pull in, a lovely dance over to the other side. Great. Now, for me even, that feels like it can be a big stretch. It's really, I have lax shoulders. It's easy for me to just slip out of the integrity of that. So we're gonna take the band and give us a little bit of support, kind of like tidy it up a little bit. I also love this because it cues the anchoring of this hip. So you're gonna take your band around your waist and you're gonna try to get the band to be kind of like around your booty. And we're gonna bring both hands here. Let's make sure that that's like equal. And if you need to choke up, choke up. Yeah, I'm gonna choke up a little. All right, here we go. Inhale over. Good. That band now, hopefully, giving you this little bit of cueing for anchor, pelvic anchoring. Oh, it feels so much better on my shoulder. I don't feel like I'm gonna do the splits in my shoulder girdle. Oh, and then pulling up. Okay, we maybe don't do the cartwheel part of it. Inhale. And cartwheel. Yeah. Inhale. And cartwheel. Good. If you are in a space where you need to kind of attach functional movement to your exercises for documentation purposes, this could be like a getting up from the floor exercise. Like you're on your side and you need to come up into a seated position, right? Like you're here and you need to come up, right? Okay. Lovely, right? Does that feel nice with the band? It's like, oh, just so much more fluid on the shoulder. I feel like connected. It's not so challenging that I feel like I'm, I have to like tense up and protect that shoulder girdle. Okay, cool. Do we do the other side? Really quick. Let's do it with the band. You know what? You can do the other side however you want. You can do the other side however you want. With the band, without the band. You can put the band on both sides. On both hands, I mean. You can try it with your anchor point too. Yeah. All right, bye. Yeah, all good. See you soon. Bye. Reach. Yeah. Good? Cool. Satisfied with that play? Or earmarked for later? All right, we're gonna do some kneeling work. Okay, you need an extra knee pad. I may grab an extra knee pad. We're gonna do some kneeling work. You're gonna need your band, you're gonna need your ball close. Okay? Let's go for a low kneel to high kneel hip press. So sitting back to heels. And then lifting the hips forward. This is your kind of your base. Good. Let's add a little bit of like an opposition to it now. So like as the hips, sit the hips back, then reach the arms forward, pull the hips forward, bring the arms back. Nice. Reach, pull, reach, pull. Beautiful. Last two. And last one. Nice. What happens if we put a ball between our knees, similar to what we did for the rollbacks? That squeeze, that adductor squeeze is going to cue midline activation, a little bit more like center line work, especially if someone maybe teeters off to one side, right? Try that same experience again with a little push. Oh, for me, that doesn't hurt my knees anymore. Love it. Good. Last one. Cool. Now, if we did keep that knee in there, I'm just going to slide back a little bit because I can't really choke up anymore. We're going to go for a thigh stretch, or it's called a reverse Nordic. Some people call it reverse Nordic. Pilates, we call it thigh stretch. We're going to have the arms out in front of us. Oh, take the ball out, actually. You know we're going to add the ball in, but take the ball out first. Lean back for your thigh stretch. And then push through your shins to bring yourself vertical. Lean back. Push through your shins. Good. When you do your lean back, it's not a back bend. Zip up through your front line. And then the hinge point is at your knees. Yeah? Cool. What happens if you do that now with the ball squeeze? Lift. Lean, squeeze. Oh, it's harder, but like in a good way harder. Like I'm not relying on external rotators as much. I'm like a little bit more in that parallel stance. Yeah, good. Now, similar to what we found earlier, if you put something in someone's hands, they're gonna be pretty tempted to use it. So let's do some different placements. There you go, Kim. There you go. Kim's the only one with her video on, so I gotta pick on her. Okay, we don't have the arms out in front of us. I understand that. You can figure out if you know, with your clients, figure out a stronger, like, system to loop the band in, carabiners, whatever. But you're gonna lean back and then push up. Yeah, there you go. Zip up through low abdominals a little bit more there, Kim. Yeah, there you go. That's it, good. And then the belt buckle comes forward before your chest. Yeah. And again, like, humble yourself too. Like, I don't need to come back all the way to feel the work in the quads there and the front line. What happens if you bring the band like more at like thoracic? Because like for me, I like to, in that exercise, I have a propensity to want to like open up and back bend. But with the band here, maybe it cues me to like tuck in a little bit more. Like for me, way better for me, I can get way further back. For me. Yeah, I think for you too. Same exercise, different input. Cool, last one. Beautiful. Great. All right, we're gonna do kind of one more version. Take a seat. And I'm gonna show you an exercise called chest expansion. Basically, pulling the arms down and back, chest expansion. But we're gonna work our way up from a seated position kind of all the way to a standing position, because I think in order to feel how this might feel for your clients or patients, wheelchair using clients, we kind of have to do it in a standing position on our tiptoes to feel the like teeter that happens, right? Okay, but let's just, for the sake of progression, let's show it. So we're gonna do chest expansion and seated. Yeah. Some people may be pulled forward. Some people want to recline and kind of find a balance point on it. Yeah, we want to be as stacked as possible. Okay, cool. Swap over, we're gonna go low kneeling. Low kneeling chest expansion. Or, if you don't want to be so on your heels, you can put something underneath. With a squish ball or a Dynadisc or something rolly, squishy, whatever, there's now this play of, like, I can move in my pelvis. And so it might be more obvious for someone when they pull into chest expansion, if their pelvis gets pulled into anterior, you're like, oh yeah, I gotta hold my abs in. So it no longer becomes a back exercise. This is like a front core back exercise, back of the arm, vertical posture. Maybe I'm pressing through my knees to avoid sliding forward, right? Okay, come up to your tall kneel. Ooh, let's throw the ball between our knees because we like that. Chest expansion. Couple times. As you're pulling the bands back, I would also say too, it's not necessarily about getting the arms behind you, but about using them for leverage to get taller. So I could care less if you're, like, I actually don't want your arms all the way back here, right? Because that brings anterior tip in the shoulder, so it's like, maybe we just go to the hips and beyond, but we use that as lift leverage. Nice. And the belly pulls up to create, again, that front line and back line sandwich that brings verticality in our posture. Cool. Let's bring it to stand. The band might be a little low. Actually, that was just low for me. If you're at hip height, like I told you to, you should be okay. All right, chest expansion. Again, thinking about the abs drawing in to create lift versus just bringing the arms behind you. Yeah. Now, what if you were to come up onto a heel lift And now do your chest expansion. So keep the heels elevated. Now, that little like waver that you have now, that's what your clients might feel even just in a seated, right? When they're not anchoring in their pelvis, right? We have to like be strong through, you have like your pelvic floor support, and then you have your dome of the bottom of the feet support, right? Okay, let's like tease it a little bit. So you're gonna come up into the heels when you pull back, and then release the heels as the arms come forward. Cool. Feel how if you're fighting the equipment, it doesn't work. If you're leaning your body weight into the equipment too much, it doesn't work. It's a perfect marrying or yielding or a dance with the equipment to create the upward motion. Yeah. And then, beautiful. One more time, hold the lift, and then go for some pulsing. Lots of work through your feet. Nice. And then release. Cool. Let's do your standing roll down that we did at the beginning. Let's now do it with a band. Okay. Of course, we're not going to do the whole like, we're just going to do the rolling down movement of it. Okay. But the band is going to engage maybe a little bit more like lat, because we said pushing down kind of helps with the front, right? So if we go a little bit of engagement from the armpits, push your knuckles towards the floor, and you're gonna land not too far away from your feet, but there's definitely still this like waver, yeah. And I have a feeling that band kind of also pulled you onto the balls of your feet, which I like, intrinsic foot. From here, draw up, tail drops down between the heels, stack the spine up on top of the pelvis, stack the shoulders. Ooh, there's a little input there to like roll the shoulders back and then bring your head up. Okay, let's do that a few more times. Rolling down, thank you. I don't know if someone just, thank you. See you. Roll. Good. And peel. Tail drops. Drawing up. Nice. Maybe one more, and then we'll go bare bones again. Little engagement from your shoulders to help connect to your abs. Pull. Awesome. And then shake it out. Maybe like do a march or walk around your space to kind of just like, ooh, that was a lot. Hey, did we build that from the ground up? Dun-dun, right? I took you on a journey also. Pilates journey and a motor development progression journey. Let's do your standing roll downs as a finish and see if they feel any different. I'm not gonna cue it too much. We're just gonna go. Arms come up, feet in parallel, shrug the shoulders up, hollow out the belly, reach out, 2 feet in front. Inhale into your back body. Arms come up towards the ceiling, arms come down for completeness. Let's do one more. Inhale. And arms come down by your side when you finish. March a few times. If you're not on your hard floor already, come to your hard floor. And we're gonna do what I call a check out. So we did a check-in body scan, we're gonna do a check out body scan. Close your eyes if that feels right for you. And notice the weight distribution in your feet. Same, different, not sure than before. Both in a right-left bias, forward-back bias, a quadrant bias. Maybe you feel a little more buoyant in your knees. Maybe your shoulders are a little bit more engaged. Like in a good way, like we've got like good, like for me, I'm like, I got good tone. Good tone, yeah. A weight shift forward into the balls of the feet, to me, and what my mentors have taught me is that that's a reflexive indication of core stability. So like your weight shifted forward, the arches of your feet are engaged, the inner line, your center line is engaged, your pelvic floor is lifted, everything's pulling up to give you the verticality versus being here on your heels, right? So again, the indication, like after a good practice, you feeling reflexively connected into your midline and your core would be a forward weight shift into the balls of the feet. You're ready to go, right? That's the power of Pilates, is it's not, it can be, this is maybe a little tangent, but it can be a relaxing modality for sure, but I like to use it as a primer for now, maybe loaded movements. Like I feel like I could go on a run right now because my body is like ready to go, right? All right. You know, I just realized I don't even have a close, maybe that was my closer. I don't even have like a formal closing to this little bit. I'm gonna turn off the recording and we're gonna open up the floor for like a casual Q&A. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you to everyone who joined live and also on the recording. And I am here for questions, comments. I'd love to, especially if you're on the replay, please email me. I'd love to know how that experience was for you. You'll get in the email to all of the links to other resources if you want to continue working together in some capacity. So thank you for that, and thank you for coming. But I'm going to turn off the recording. You're welcome to stay. I'll be here for another 15 minutes or so if you just want to talk shop.